Welcome back, guys, to the latest episode of mine, and in today I've got a new game video for you guys. One game I picked up in one of these thrift stores, and another one that I've just been messing around with lately on my Memi. So let's go check it out. So here we go. Here's my first game. This is called Fade to Black, not the Metallica version Fade to Black off the Ride Lightning album, which is an awesome song, by the way. This game was released in 1995 by Dolphin Software International and published by EA Sports. I know a lot of gamers do not like that company, but nonetheless, I found it and I used the advice of some of my favorite YouTubers such as the Game Chasers here. And they say whenever you go looking in a thrift store or charity shop, look at the CD section, and I did, and look what I found. Just one random PlayStation game, not a scratch on it, just lying there. So I bought it, did some research on it, and in doing that, it took me back to those days where 3D graphics was starting to become integrated into our two-dimensional gaming platform. So it's a sci-fi action adventure, also got a lot of puzzles in it. It's a crazy game, so let's just play it and we talk about it there. So now we start the game, and I always like to watch the story mode to get a background of where this game is going. And the story starts with the guy whose name is Conrad Hart, who's lost at space in his little spaceship for about 50 years, and he's in cryogenic sleep on the ship. And then in the picture comes another spaceship, a huge spaceship, and beams him and his spaceship up. Later on you realize that these guys are his mortal enemies and they've captured him again. This race of people are called the Morphs, and they are like a lizard reptilian type of people. And there's no mercy for this poor dude. I mean, he's been sleeping for 50 years and now suddenly he's been sent to prison on a lunar prison called New Alcatraz. And that's how the story goes. I really dig the idea, and it's so long ago, never seen this game before. But let's see what happens when I press start. So here we go with Conrad Hart, stuck in jail, feeling sorry for himself, and then suddenly he gets a image from one of the screens in his cell with one of those reptilian people saying that welcome to New Alcatraz, there's no way you can escape. And then suddenly he gets shot in the head by this guy called John O'Connor. Isn't that the guy from flippin' Terminator? Anyway, this guy gives him a gun and some funny device. I don't know if it's a telecom or something that he can communicate with, or a GPS, but nonetheless gives him these two items, and he's got to continue through the game so that he can get to that place where he says it is possible to escape this freaking prison. Okay, so the first thing that kind of ticks me off is the way the guy is dressed. I mean, the year is 2190, and this guy is dressed in a denim, white sneakers, and a leather jacket that's kind of tucked into his pants. I've never seen that in my life. But anyway, it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, and with the graphics of those days, it kind of looks, how can I say, abnormal the way the screenshots go, but nonetheless it's an old game, so let me play it more. The dude kind of reminds me of like Michael J. Fox Back to the Future, or Arnold Schwarzenegger Last Action Hero. But I mean, come on, it's 2190. Isn't he supposed to have like robot armor or something like that to protect him from these freaking reptilians? So the next thing in line that really bugs me is the aiming mode. You've got this like type of first person mode. If you push square, then you go into your action mode, almost like Karateka on an 8-bit system. If you push down, then he gets into his action mode. It's the only way you can fight the people. If you don't do that, you die. And the thing is so unstable. I mean, as you can see for all the examples I give you now. So now coming to the worst part of this game is the mobility and the movement. I find it so difficult and so bizarre. I thought maybe I'm gonna just plug in my other control that has analog. When I plug in the analog control, the analog doesn't work. It doesn't move unless you take the analog off. So yeah, I've struggled so many times to do each scene over because the movement changes each time, the screen changes, so kind of difficult. I mean, even running in a straight line is challenging. Going to one of these traps. And as you can see, with this trap, I'm supposed to wait and go through that laser beam before he goes off that pressure point. But now look, because the controls are so bad, I start running in such funny directions because the screen changes. Once that happens, the controls change, which can be a real pain. So there is one more thing that I could talk about before I leave this game, because it's, to me, I'm not enjoying it and I'd rather continue on to the next game. But the strange thing is that, like where you see yourself fall down and die, the game stops and you don't know if you've killed the person or you being killed. You will see now it kind of freezes and then goes into like a cutscene of how you die. I don't know, this is the time of Mortal Kombat, so maybe they try to incorporate an idea like that. Okay, so I'm done. Do I want to resume or quit? I said no, I don't want to carry on playing, so quit game, yes. So if you like this game, this is just my taste. If you guys into it, there's no problem with that. I just feel they could have done more. Okay, so now that is done, and to tell you the truth, I'm actually a little bit disappointed in the game because I really liked the storyline and got a kick out of the whole 90s type of sci-fi vibe that it has. But when it came to the playability, it just aggravated and ticked me off. But anyway, the next game that I'm going to talk about is called Wild Fang. It was a really awesome game. When I saw it, I had to dig deeper into it. It's like a mixture of Altered Beast, Golden Axe, and Final Fight. It's a real cool beat 'em up. This game was released by Tecmo in 1989. Other game that Tecmo also released, this game reminds me so much of his Shadow Warriors, which was released in 1988. But nonetheless, it's a cool game. I know in the States it's known as Tecmo Knight, the same as the company that made the game. But I love these strange ideas. I mean, the guy's riding on a giant or a tiger, then a freaking dragon. So let's check that game out. It's really cool. So this is the only type of cutscenes from that game, Wild Fang. I look for a type of storyline. The only thing I can find is that the story goes that there's this creature called Wild Fang, and these two warriors go to defeat him, but to get to him they have to go through all his minions, and that's about it. Now, in playing the game, it reminds me a lot of Splatterhouse. So yeah, I'm fighting all these red devils with their Nimrod horns in the middle of their head, and they're actually drinking alcohol. It's so funny. And these mutt warriors, it might be an old game, but I love the scenery of the old civilization, broken down temples and stuff like that. So he's drinking again. But the company Tecmo have always had an element of horror in their games, which is cool, and I love it. See, now I've got that medallion and I've turned into a dragon, the most powerful creature that is on the game. If you get those skulls, it's like it makes you hit harder. If you're the tiger, it makes your reach longer. Very cool game, I love it. Reminds me also of God of War, and I'll show you now why. Okay, so now you get to see the tiger. For me, the tiger in the beginning is actually the better animal or better ride to use, because you got a distance. With the giant you get hit a lot because you don't have that long range weapon, and if you the more skulls you get, the more range it gets. Like most Tecmo games, they have a 3-button mode: a jump, a hit, and one button that chooses between your tiger and your giant that you can ride on. Exactly the same as the Shadow Warriors that I spoke about earlier, where it also has 3 buttons. One button to hang on to things on the building so you can kick your enemies, which is also used at the end when you hang off the trees and swing from one to another. It's a very difficult technique that they put in the game, but it's really cool. Alright, here comes the part that reminds me of God of War. Doesn't that gorilla in the background remind you of God of War? The playability when it came out with all those huge beasts. I'd really love it if they had to redo this game with the technology and the graphics and all that stuff we have today. One really cool feature about this game is, like, the tiger would jump and spin around the enemy's head, so you can jump from place to place where it's safe to do so. The giant jumps on the guy's head and pounds his head in, which is a really cool feature. There are other cool features which I think could have been even cooler if they added in, especially if you double tap forward and run, like a lot of the games like Captain Commander have, where you run and you use your hit button, it gives a different attack. Or if you jump and then hit, a different attack then. Or like Final Fight, if you walk into the enemy, it automatically grabs them. You can throw them, or you can jump and then do a different special move. It would have been even better if they added some weapons in the game. The part that I don't like is when you die and you have to start from earlier on and get past the place you died. So I think the best way to combat this is to play 2-player and let them kill your 2-player while you go forward on the game. That's the only way I can see how, if you really struggle with the game, how you can get past all those bosses without any cheats and stuff. So coming to the end of this game, I think the 2-player mode is much more fun and exciting. If you have a look here, it looks so awesome, so much chaos going on. I love it. And this is my type of thing. This is what I like. I know everybody's taste differs, but if you get a chance to see it, give it a shot, play it, and until next time, thanks for the view. Cheers, dudes. And I love this part. To force you to continue the game is where you're inside the mouth of most probably the wild Fang. And you must continue or throw a coin in the machine before you die, or before he closes his mouth. Exactly the same like in Shadow Warriors. I love it. So there we go. That is more like my type of game. I really love this. It was really cool. I'm gonna try and get even further, but the only downside of this game of Wild Fang or Tecmo Knight is that when you die you have to start a little bit back and then go forward past the place that you die, which is really frustrating. I just wish you would start where you die off. But nonetheless, my type of game, really cool. Never saw it before, never saw it in the arcade, but when I was going through my memory I found it, and this is what it's all about for me. So if you like my content and like what I do, support me, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the notification bell if you want all my latest videos. Until next time guys, be good to yourself and be good to others. Cheers.